Darkcast Network. The light shines brightest on our indie podcasts.
Warning. The following podcast may occasionally contain strong language and material that is not suitable for all ages. If you are easily offended, it is highly advised that you turn back now. However, if you're a degenerate, welcome, brethren. You've found your home.
Welcome to the Crime Diner. We are a Jersey podcast, and on the menu is a variety of true crime, cults, mysteries, historical hilarities, and sometimes victim stories. We do this within a Dinner with Friends theme. I'm Nidia.
I'm Dana.
I'm Cindy.
So last week, we had a podcast invader.
That's right. A takeover.
A takeover.
Thank God.
Hostile takeover.
I was thrilled with it.
Dawn of Scottish Murders is the most hostile person. No, she's not. She's so
I've ever
freaking
met.
sweet.
And she has the best, accent, voice, and
my
laugh.
God.
The most adorable laugh.
Honestly, I would follow her anywhere. I love her voice is soothing.
Yeah.
And, it's very crimey, but, soothe you to sleep crimey.
Yeah. I could absolutely,
Yes.
sleep to that podcast.
Right. It's, almost a danger to drive while you're listening
100%.
to it. Not that she's boring, but she's just got a very soothing voice.
Yeah.
And I love her accent.
She's got a podcasting voice.
Yes. We hooked up with her.
Mm-hmm.
She told us a story, and we were entranced.
That's
I
right.
had little heart eyes.
Yeah.
And that was that. That was last week.
She told us a mystery of the Goatfell Mountain. Honestly, as your friend, I'm so impressed with how you cracked the case. 100-year-old mystery. You cracked the case. Gay stuff.
I am an idiot savant when it comes to cracking cases.
That's right. Yeah, you're
It's
so
always
smart.
gay stuff.
Yeah, it's always gay stuff. It was the Scottish Brokeback Mountain.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the fact that nobody's thought of it beforehand honestly feels homophobic.
Yes.
Truly.
It's all homophobic or racist.
Yeah.
So Dawn says that there's events that they still review the case, and she says she wants to go and put your theory out there.
Oh my God.
And I said, do it. You have to do it.
You have to now.
And
then
record
come
it.
back.
Yeah.
And see what reaction you get when you blame
When
the
she
gay
gets
stuff on it.
Pitchforked out of the a whole gang of and Scottish people too. They probably do with the pitchforks and the stick with fire. Yeah,
They
I could see
especially
that.
have the sticks of fire and the pitchforks.
Enter at your own risk, Dawn. I don't know.
Yeah. But listen, put my theory hat in the ring.
That's right.
You know?
I think it's a great idea.
So this week, I am going to share a listener request.
Yeah.
I believe it was listener Judith that sent in a request. She wanted Juárez. She texted it like this: Juárez MX. So I took it as Juárez, Mexico, and I'm like, well, what's happening in Juárez? What they're known for, right? So it's murders, and I ran with it. Okay. So, and there is a lot to unpack here.
Oh.
So you may need to take notes.
All right, I'm going to get my notebook out.
There's a lot of names. There's a lot of dates. There's a lot here. Okay.
Really?
Yes. I'll take it slow.
Ease us into it. You do.
Yeah, I'm gonna ease into it.
Yeah, please and thank you.
Yeah. It's gonna go real nice and slow. And I'm gonna be very gentle.
I hate everything about what you're doing right now.
But first, the food.
Thank God.
Let us pray. Bless us, O patrons, for these thy gifts which we are about to receive from thy donations through Patreon every month under the power of the V podcast.
Cult.
This is not white people tacos.
It is not.
No.
It is not. It's I wouldn't go with white people tacos.
Come on.
What the fuck? We had limes this whole time, and you couldn't give me
bitch.
fucking tequila.
You wanted that tequila?
I mean, as long as there was limes, I would have taken it.
What do we have here?
It is tacos al pastor.
Pastor.
Yeah.
She says, she has the Puerto Rican accent that says the R like an L.
Pastor. Still, fuck it. It doesn't matter.
I love it.
Yep.
I can't wait to eat it.
It looks and smells fantastic.
What kind of meat is that?
That's pork.
Duh.
Shut up.
Even I knew that.
No, you didn't. White people tacos.
There was a lot of work put in to make that.
Oh, my God. My mouth is watering.
Is there pineapple on it?
Yeah, what
There's
is
pineapple
Fuck
on
yeah.
it.
Get the fuck out of here. I'm not eating this.
Well, you're dumb. I'll eat that plate.
Pineapple.
Pineapple. That's how it's made.
Oh. All right. I'm going to give it a shot.
Let's go. Tacos al pastor.
Wow.
Yeah?
I mean, who knew pineapples on a savory dish would be good?
Mexico, I think.
Everybody that eats pineapple pizza.
Yes.
I liked it. The pineapple gave it like a nice sweet and salty flavor. You know what I mean? So I really like it. It cut the salt of the pork. And I mean, I added green salt. I added lime. I added the cheese.
You
the
added
queso.
green salt?
Green salsa.
Oh, salsa.
Did I say salt?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I meant sauce.
I was like, was there salt I didn't know about?
There was-
I want to put that on mine too.
cilantro.
Yes.
I like cilantro, but I
Love
know
it.
some people don't like cilantro.
Literally.
But I really liked it. This was very enjoyable. It was not a food that you eat on a first date.
No, because you were making love to that taco.
Yeah.
You were eating that
Oh, my
taco.
God.
You
I
were
was-
into that taco. Chomping it.
I was just like
Slopping it
in
up.
there. The taco was like, stop, no. I like
You assaulted it.
yeah, it was just like all over the place. It was a lot of food.
Yeah.
Just shrapnel all over my plate.
I have a whole nother taco.
I know.
And I'm like, I want to eat it, but I want to not be ridiculous, but it's so good.
Yes.
So,
it's
so, so
very
fantastic.
delicious. Then we are drinking, Cindy informed us these are called Palomas,
Palomas?
pigeons.
No.
These are a pink drink. Tell us, Cindy, what this is.
Grapefruit, tequila, and lime.
I knew there was tequila in there.
Yeah.
Me and tequila are quite familiar.
Yes, I know this.
Yes, and
Grapefruit? Like juice, or do you like squeezed it?
No, you could.
Fucking loser.
Cindy was like,
God,
yeah.
bitch. It's grapefruit. Normally, it's grapefruit juice. I actually use grapefruit soda instead.
Oh, that's what it is. I'm like, there's something that's like tingling my lips.
Yes.
And I thought it was the spice from the meat. That's why I was like, something with the drink and the meat is not like working for me.
I thought I was getting
it's a
herpes
soda.
outbreak.
Oh,
The tingling was
it's
just
soda.
like,
Okay, that makes more
interesting.
sense. Okay, now that I know it's soda, I understand what's happening here. Mm-hmm. I was very confused. I could drink that all day.
yeah, it's sweet. It's almost like a pink lemonade.
Yeah,
kind of
it's hammock
flavor.
drink. It's
Yeah,
a hammock
definitely,
drink.
yeah.
Yeah. Is it like a traditional Mexican drink, or is it just like a fun Mexican like would I have this drink in Mexico, or would I be drinking this in New Jersey on Cinco de Mayo?
You can find it in Jersey on Cinco de Mayo, but it is, when I looked it up, it is a traditional drink from Mexico.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah.
Now the tacos al pastor and the drink, the Paloma, that feels very Cancun on vacation kind of. Like, you know, it gives you like those vibes.
Yeah. I mean, tacos al pastor is like kind of like
LA,
that's,
like Mexican.
but that's like the Mexican food, right?
Is it?
It's like
Yes,
Mexican
it's
food.
very
Like
Mexican.
it's always like the first thing on the Mexican restaurant, like the menu.
Yes, but that's U.S. Mexican restaurant.
True, I gotta
menu.
remember that.
Yes.
Fair enough.
Bastardized Mexican food.
Oh, try.
Honestly, though, if you look up the recipes,
Right.
like I remember I was trying to find, I think burritos was it that I
Yeah.
wanted to make,
Yeah.
and I could not find a Mexican chef. This recipe, I actually used 2 Mexican, fully in Spanish recipes to follow.
Oh,
Yeah, no,
fancy.
these were like YouTube videos
yeah, this feels
in
like
Spanish.
more of a traditional thing than like
Yeah.
a burrito.
No, I
You know
was
what I mean? Fucking love a burrito though.
I was putting blender
Or a gordita.
I was putting chili peppers in a blender for this.
Okay. Well, listen, your effort has not gone unnoticed.
Yeah, yeah. This is. I am gonna eat
Yeah.
many more of this. I did have a white people taco event this weekend for my
an
son.
event.
Yes, it was certainly an event. And this is not that.
Yeah.
I mean, I love white people tacos. It is my heritage.
Yes.
But this is fantastic.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Really,
Honestly, if you go to a Mexican restaurant, you look at the Mexican menu.
Yeah.
When you see ground beef tacos, they call it the American taco.
American taco. I don't know that I've ever actually seen like ground beef tacos at a Mexican restaurant.
I have one of the restaurants that I love going to, and they call it the American Taco.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
I think I know what restaurant you're talking about.
Oh, I love that place.
I saw that and I was like, this feels racist.
How dare they make fun of American?
I mean, how dare they make fun of appropriation?
Taco night.
Cultural appropriation. How dare they?
Dare they make fun of cultural appropriation?
That's actually so fucked up. It's so funny. So right before we went to Atlanta, I was packing and I had a girl here who was just spending a little time before I left.
Your little boo snack.
Yeah. A little friend I was hanging out with. And so I have somebody who cuts my lawn who is my very best friend's uncle. He's got special needs, but does a great job. It gives him a little cash in his pocket. He rides his little electric bike here, and I leave all the stuff for him, and he cuts my lawn. Fine, right? I didn't know he was coming, but whatever. He's a funny little fellow.
Okay.
He's just a funny little fellow. He showed up, and
You were entertaining?
I was entertaining guests, and I also was not, like, in attire to be hosting other guests. You
Girl,
know what I mean?
you were buck naked.
I wasn't buck naked. No, I wasn't buck naked, but I was, like, looking out the window. I'm like, what? Why is there... Okay. So he was knocking on the door, and I'm like, hold on a second, but... I had my screen door open. You know, my screen door was closed, but my big door was open. So he just, like, was letting himself in, which he normally would do. I normally wouldn't care, but I wasn't properly dressed.
Right.
So, anyway, not the point of the story.
Okay.
So I call my friend just to tell her what happened, you know? So she's, like, telling him, like, hey, you just gotta talk to her first, whatever. And he goes, well, like, in defense of himself.
He got mad?
He didn't get mad, but he just said, just so you know, Dana had a suitcase full of dildos in her living room.
Oh.
And I was like, I did not have a suitcase full of dildos. So she calls me and goes, he said you had a suitcase full of dildos. And I said, there was one dildo in there, but he certainly didn't see it because it was already packed up. And what the fuck? Why is he saying I had a suitcase? Because this is like, you know, he not only if he told her that I had a suicase full of dildos,
he told everyone.
He told everybody. So then I'm unpacking the suitcase. I'm like, these are microphones. All the microphones in the suitcase, and told my friend that I had a bunch of dildos in the suitcase.
Sir, this is a Wendy's. What?
Yeah, so he told everyone that I took a suitcase full of dildos with me to Atlanta.
Oh my God.
Which is very rude. I had to call him and be like, sir, they were microphones. I didn't say they were dildos. I said, I think you might have said they were dildos. I didn't say that. I'm like, that's interesting.
He had dicks on the brain.
Yeah, I guess he did. So then I was thinking,
right?
I wasn't here for a bunch of days, and like, I did leave lots of things on my bed because like I had taken my box out. I was like, what am I going to bring with me?
Right.
Then I just left the box on the bed.
Oh, of your toys.
Yeah. So
your
I was like,
toys.
Did he see the box on the bed? Why was he in my house? Like, well, and it took me like a minute. I'm like, oh, he means the microphone. Anyway, so I did not bring a suitcase full of dildos with me to Atlanta.
They are phallic looking.
They are phallic looking. I understand the mistake.
Right.
Yeah.
If like a Muppet had like a dick.
Yeah, I mean, it's got a red tip.
Yes. They have red felt tips on them.
And they're like really fat on one end.
Right.
Like really thin on the other. It was very funny. We all got a big laugh about it.
Wow.
But
speaking of being wrongly accused.
Okay, great.
I was one of the chosen.
Oh my God.
For jury duty.
Fantastic.
So it said on the card that I was chosen for petit jury, which, you know, I was like, okay, petit juror, that means it's like a claims, you know what I mean? Like,
okay, yeah.
It's not like capital murder. Right?
Yeah.
So we get in there, there's like 200 of us in a room.
Oh my God.
It was so many people.
Nightmare.
And, you know, I'm a teacher, so I was like, I'm going to be in and out of here. I'm going to be just fine. But then they give us a list. They gave us a list of questions that the judge was going to ask us. And then they give us a list of about 200 names. And they're like, this is the witness list.
Okay. What?
I was like, 200 fucking witnesses?
Oh.
What the fuck is this thing? What could possibly require 200 witnesses?
Uh-oh.
So then they transport us upstairs, and upstairs we're in front of the judge, right? We're in a room. So we're in the court, and we're in the room, and the jury, they were picking a jury for a capital murder charge.
Fuck.
It was a murder charge, and the lawyers for the defense and the lawyers for the prosecution and the defendant were there. And
The defendant was there too?
yes, the defendant was there.
Oh, fuck.
And
Did you know him?
no, I didn't know anybody in the thing. I would have
Okay.
been a perfect juror because, like, I was here for
Yeah.
it. The judge was like, this is going to be a 21-day trial.
Oh, fuck.
And we were like, damn, 3 weeks out of work. 90% of the people there were like, yeah, I'm out, dog.
Yeah.
Like, this sounds really interesting and all, but I'm out.
Nah, fuck
so
that.
she said the guy's name, and I was like, ooh, that's a flawed system. Because immediately, everybody gets on their phone and starts Googling immediately. And the rest I'm going to have to, like, because it's, like, sensitive, I'm going to have to, like, save it for the
Patreon.
3 patrons we have.
Yeah.
We have more than 3, but still. I'm going to save it for the patrons because they paid for it. So,
Yeah.
and because, like, there's fewer chances of me getting in trouble
Right,
over
right,
this.
right.
But
They gotta get a paywall.
when I was like, what? Come again? Oh, this fucker is going to fry. He's lucky I didn't get chosen for this
Oh,
jury.
shit. You
I was
that's
like,
really good he
yeah,
didn't.
I'm not going to be impartial about this. This
Oh,
guy
fuck.
definitely did this.
Oh, shit, really?
Yes.
Oh, I can't wait to hear about it.
And he had like this really sketchy look. He kept looking around the room and like, you know.
Oh, you're a terrible juror. You're the worst kind of juror.
worst.
Yeah.
Wait till I tell you what he did, and then you'll decide.
Allegedly.
Allegedly did. No, but you know what? If I would have seen like proof that he, you know what I'm saying? If I would have heard all the thing, and I would have definitely made like if they didn't like the burden of proof is on the freaking prosecution. If they didn't present a good thing, I would have let him walk.
Yeah.
But he would have killed again. But anyway,
But again,
I digress. That's going to be behind a paywall. Yeah. I have to. It's too juicy.
Oh, fuck. I can't wait to hear about it.
I hope I'm not building it up too
Yeah,
much.
I hope not.
Jesus Christ.
Come join us on Patreon and find out.
Yeah. Also, let's have dessert.
Let's do it.
I have a sweet tooth.
What do you think about churro muffins?
I could eat that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those are mini muffins.
Yeah,
too.
they are mini muffins, and I ate both of the tops off of mine.
Oh, you gross animal. You know what I did? I ate the bottoms.
Did you? We should have split them.
I ate the bottoms and then I ate the tops.
Oh, well, what I usually do, I don't know if you know this about me. I eat a blueberry muffin every day. I'm not sure if you knew this about me, but probably for the last like 6 months, I've eaten a blueberry muffin every day.
Okay.
And
From Dunkin'?
No, for my job.
Oh.
These big, beautiful muffins.
Oh my God.
I'll have to show you a picture.
Are they moist?
Yeah, sometimes. Most of the time. And they have this crystallized top with sugar. But what I usually do is I take the top off the bottom.
Of course.
And then I eat the bottom.
Uh-huh.
And then I like eat the top like ning, 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 ning.
That's what I just did with this
That's
churro
what you
muffin.
did. I did the opposite with this one where I just ate the tops.
Yeah.
Because the tops, the way like they just rose like weird where they had like
Yeah.
a long big lip.
Yeah.
I fucking love the top. The cinnamon sugar. So good.
like the long
Dana loves
big
to
lips.
eat a muffin with very big lips.
Why are you guys such perverts?
Who's talking about pervert stuff? You just said
Look at her face right now.
nobody is talking dirty
Look
here.
at her face right now. Uh-huh.
She's hyperventilating.
Uh-huh. She can't even compose herself. Look at her. You asshole. Purple faced.
Okay. Listen, I don't know where she's getting this from. She has a filthy mind, obviously. I don't even get it. So Dana likes a moist muffin with a big lip. Big
Yep.
lip. Yeah.
Big sugary lip.
So you like to eat the lips first and then make your way to the
To the muff.
moist.
The moist muff.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hate you guys.
I don't know why. Anywho, these were great.
Yeah.
I could pop a few of these in the morning.
Oh my God. In the morning, like in a little, little toaster oven sitch.
Oh my God,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, yeah.
With a little bit of butter.
Little hot tea.
Golden.
Yeah.
Delicious.
Yeah. Fantastic.
I have a story,
Yeah.
and I'm going to get right to it.
All right. Let's go.
Are you afraid of what lies in the dark? Are you looking to get your spooky bone tickled? Maybe you're just curious about what lies behind the shadows. My name is JD, and I invite you to check out my Through the Veil podcast. We have something that I'm sure will get your spine tingling. We dive into true paranormal cases, possessions, folklore, and sometimes even a little true crime that has some elements that just won't rest. We have new episodes available every Tuesday and are a proud member of the Darkcast Network. You can find us wherever you get your podcasts or by visiting our website at throughtheveilpodcast.com, where we take our episodes even further with extra content that supports our latest episodes. So come visit us, grab a blankie, and turn down the lights, and get ready to catch a glimpse of what lies through the veil.
I got my story today. Obviously, it's a story that was a request.
Right.
Wikipedia. By the way, Wikipedia's been hitting me up for money.
Yeah, you should give them some.
I am. But usually, like, I'm not near my credit card or anything, and I'm like, oh, come on.
You're like, I got you next time, Wikipedia.
Yeah, I got you next time.
I always do.
I
usually give them a little.
Yeah.
I throw them a little $5.13 or whatever they're asking for.
But yeah, well, they're asking me for $2 and change.
Oh,
like,
okay.
It was reasonable, $2.75 or something.
I can do that.
But I'm just not anywhere near my card.
Doesn't your, like, Apple Pay just do it for you or whatever?
I don't have it connected.
Oh, my God.
Yes.
Wow. That's responsible.
I'm going to hook you up, Wiki. I am. Wikipedia, LA Times, NBC News, criminalminds.fandom.
Oh, shit.
Yes.
That's not good. That's never good.
Wikipedia. I already said Wikipedia.
Yeah. Had a whole conversation about it.
I have a few Wikipedia articles. And I took a lot from this podcast. It's a series. Like, it's a one and done kind of series.
Love that.
Yes. It's called The Red Note.
Okay.
And when I tell you that this is a must listen, it was originally done in Spanish, and then they translated it with Mexican actors, and I mean,
really?
it's like, and I went back and listened to it in Spanish. Again? It's The Red Note. Okay. I listened to it in Spanish just to see if they were accurate. Man, it was on point.
Really?
Okay. Yes, and they do the inflections and everything. It's not just like translated. Yeah. All right. It's a little bit to understand because it's heavy accented. The person that does it. Yeah. She's an actual reporter that has been run out of Mexico for her own safety. Oh shit. And she's like kind of like living in kind of like hiding because they kidnapped her, tortured her, killed her animals. What the fuck? Yeah. Oh yeah. Like, if you are a reporter in Mexico exposing people, you will get killed. Oh shit. You will absolutely get killed. Because by the end of my story, one of the people involved did get murdered. Oh fuck! What are you about to tell us? Last week. Just like last week. What do you mean? Oh, so, they got murdered last week? Yes. Oh, fuck. Yes, they got shot down like last week. So I am going to be talking about the Juárez femicides. Okay. You never heard of this? No. This is an insane story. Okay. And honestly, if I get anything wrong, please correct me because this is so complex. Okay. And it really needed, this podcast, The Red Note, is a 9-episode podcast. Shit. And they cover everything. Okay? Really? Like they go in depth. Okay. A few authors come out there. The Killing Fields author. Oh, they talk about that. They talk about the vagina monologues. Oh. A lot of people come out and she's interviewed them. Okay. They say their piece. Okay. So femicide is a relatively new word. Okay. Femicide is defined as the killing of a woman or girl, in particular by a man, on account of her gender. Okay. So killing for the sake of hating your femininity, your gender. Okay. Okay. So, because it's not homicide. Right. It felt more specifically gendered, you know what I mean? Interesting. Yes. So Ciudad Juarez is a city located in the state of Chihuahua, Mexico. Okay. All right. So it's the city the city is called Juárez and it's in the state of Chihuahua. Okay. All right. So I had to explain that because it goes back and forth. Like I'll say the Attorney General of Chihuahua, and if you don't know that, Juárez is a city in the state of Chihuahua. Okay. Because like everybody thinks like it's like Mexico, that's the state, right? No, right. Mexico's the country. Yeah. So anyway, a little geography lesson. Wow, thanks. Great job. Yeah. So it is known as one of the most dangerous cities in the world. Okay. More than 3,700 people died in 1 year during the war between the Juárez and the Sinaloa cartels.
Fuck.
So that's just men and women.
Yeah.
And this was the war to control the cities,
Okay.
you know, the city's drug trade and everything.
Yeah.
But even before the conflict in Juárez, it was still a city known as the city that killed women.
Why?
It just had a reputation for that because
Okay.
so many women were found dead.
What the fuck?
And this is like, it's not like a huge number. And like, if you were to ask people that know this about the city, you know what I mean, know this about Juarez, you probably think, okay, 50%, 60% of the murders are femicides, right?
Yeah.
Because that's what you think. Like, the city that kills women, oh, then half of those must be like women killed, you know, women
Yeah.
being killed. No, a lot of it is deaths. 9% is deaths of women. 9% of the murders in the city. There's
Okay.
a lot of murders, kidnappings, and
Yeah.
extortion
Just
and
because
things
of,
like
like,
that
the
because of the
drugs and
drugs.
the- yeah.
Yes. Okay. But 9% is based solely on this femicide thing.
Okay.
All right. And I'll explain why. So over the last 25 years, hundreds of young girls and women have been disappeared or been murdered in Juarez.
Okay.
In most cases, the women had been raped and their bodies had been viciously mutilated in a pattern leading investigators to believe that a serial killer was involved.
Really?
Yes, a very specific pattern.
Okay.
Many other victims were kidnapped and in broad daylight. In broad daylight, they're catching the bus.
Just
They're
like off the street.
Just right off the street.
Shit.
And sold into sex trafficking by the Mexican drug cartels. It's actually their second biggest moneymaker behind the transportation of drugs and
Jesus
stuff.
Christ.
Yes, the sex trafficking. Mm-hmm. So in 1993, two things changed the fate of Juarez for the next 30 years.
Okay.
NAFTA, the national, what is it called?
North American
Thank you.
Free Trade Agreement.
Yeah, the North American Free Trade Agreement. I knew that.
I didn't know that.
I looked it up, and,
Yeah.
and then I forgot to fucking...
I mean, I knew that it was like about trade or whatever. But I didn't know what
Yes.
the acronym stood for.
Yeah, they
Not
met...
even Googling that
I
shit.
know. Great job.
Yeah, they met in Seattle, I believe it was. I remember when that whole thing went
Yeah.
down, people were like protesting it, and I remember
Yeah.
thinking, why are they protesting that? That
That's
seems
my
kind of
dad's
good. Yeah.
favorite thing to be like, but NAFTA, but NAFTA.
That and the Carrillo Fuentes cartel changed the fate of Juarez.
Okay.
Until the 1980s, Colombia's cartels shipped the narcotics through the U.S., through the Caribbean, and through the southeastern United States.
Okay.
When the DEA tried to block those routes, the Colombians made a deal with the Mexican counterparts to move their product to the U.S. through border cities like Tijuana,
Yeah.
Juarez, and places like that.
Okay.
All right. Then in April of 1993, the leader of the Juarez cartel was assassinated. This assassination was ordered by the Carrillo Fuentes cartel, who then assumed control of the drug trafficking in Juarez. Prior to that, they had like a kind of like, I'll help you out, you help me out. You know what I mean? Everybody stays in their own lane.
Yeah.
We're cool. They would like give them payouts.
Okay.
To be able to use their drug routes.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so they wanted to control that. They were like, hey, let's cut out the middleman and let's control that, right?
Yeah.
Especially after he was killed. Because prior to that, he kept the peace,
Yeah.
There wasn't... He knew that as long as the peace was there, he didn't have to pay too much to be
Yeah.
protected.
It's almost like a mini government.
Yeah, it's like he has to make payouts to the police. Hey,
Yeah.
look the other way.
Yeah.
Protect me from this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he kept things cool, right?
Okay.
But the more he has to pay, the less security he has, the less money he makes, so on and so forth, right?
Yeah.
He was actually killed during surgery. He was trying to change his appearance,
Really?
and they gave him a fatal dose of...
Purposefully?
Yes.
Ooh.
Yeah. So anywho.
That's slick.
Yeah.
Okay.
Some sources say that he was getting liposuction and he wanted to change his appearance because if they recognized him, then,
Wow, that's like some fucking movie type shit.
Yes. So this dude had bought off the government
Okay.
at a national level. Like he had everybody in his pocket. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like at the national level. He had all levels of government in his pocket. Juarez made an ideal drug trafficking location because of the proximity to El Paso, Texas. They're like right there.
Okay.
And at one point they were actually one whole Like before the Mexican-American War or whatever, they were actually one whole place.
Oh, one whole city?
Yeah, one whole city.
Okay. Isn't that weird how a line drawn in the sand just like changes everything?
Well, not a line, but they had a river. So since then, the river has dried up, and
Gotcha.
it's more. All right. So this was also the reason why hundreds of factories.
Metaphorical line, I guess.
Right. This was also the reason why hundreds of factories were built in Juárez.
Okay.
So when NAFTA was passed, American factories on one side of the border were, manufacturing certain things. And then right on the other side, they were identical factories making parts.
Okay.
And while the factories in the United States were paying their workers a livable wage, on the other side, they were making $8 a day.
Wow.
All right. And most of the workers comprised of about 80% women.
Okay.
In these maquilladoras, they called them.
Okay.
All right. So the management was mostly male. So it gave way to a highly sexualized workplace environment. You know what I mean? And not to offend anybody, but Mexico has a big machismo problem. Sure. You know what I mean? Not all men are like that of Mexico descent,
Well, it certainly creates a power dynamic.
It does.
Unfortunate.
It does. And, we're talking about the early 90s where, like, we still had that fucking sexual harassment. We still have that in the workplace. Yeah. So sexual harassment was naturally huge, right?
Yeah.
They even had fucking beauty pageants between the factories.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yes, girl.
Oh my God.
Isn't that disgusting?
Yeah.
Anywho, you had to be 16 to work at the factories, but many of the girls were very poor, and they were as young as 12, and they would falsify documents to have an opportunity of a little better life, because $8 a day was buying them at least a meal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So in January 1993, state police discovered the body of the first reported victim of Juárez. This was the Juárez serial murders, the first reported victim. She was found in the desert right outside the city. More than likely, there were earlier female victims whose remains were just never located, right?
Yeah.
So between May and October 1993, the bodies of 10 more women were found in the desert. Yes. All had been the victim of violence, including sexual assault. As more and more women began to be uncovered, a pattern started to emerge.
Okay.
Most were between the age of 13 and 22. Some were students. Some were sex industry workers. Most worked in the maquilladoras.
Okay.
In the factories located in Juárez, right? These were young women, often from poor families, there in Juárez looking for work.
Yeah.
And didn't have the familial connections, they were
close
moved
enough
to the
that
city.
somebody would know that they were missing or whatever.
Exactly.
Okay.
And the authorities appeared to be unwilling or unable to solve and prevent these crimes.
Okay.
They were just like, oh, well.
Just another person in the desert.
Yeah. Was she wearing a skirt? That's too bad. Yeah.
Damn,
all right.
What the fuck?
Yeah. Oh, you're going to say what the fuck a lot.
Oh, great.
By December 1993, at least 25 women had been found murdered in Juárez.
Shit.
But at this time, authorities still failed to recognize that there was a pattern to these crimes.
Failed to recognize or failed to, admit out loud?
A little bit of both.
Okay.
Remember when I did the story about the Mata Viejitas?
Yes.
And they failed. They were like, okay, all these little old ladies are dying.
Yeah.
And they're like, nah, there's no pattern here.
Yeah, exactly. That was exactly what I was just thinking.
Yeah. So
we don't like to admit when we have a problem.
No.
Okay.
No. In the absence of a criminal investigation, the work fell to the mothers of the victims.
Yeah.
To investigate and go out on the street and ask questions. In December 1994, the murdered remains of about 10 more women were found.
Okay.
They were found in fucking batches. This wasn't one or two. They were found in whole batches.
Yeah.
All right. So a total about 36 women were now found. This is now entering its third year with little to no attention from anybody.
Not authorities,
no.
Not the news media, nothing.
No.
Okay.
I mean, one or two little articles here and there. Yeah. It was just like, oh, well.
That seems like a lot of women to not pay attention to it at all.
Hold on to your panties.
Okay.
A total of about, okay, so I said that. At the time, Oscar Maynez was a forensics pathologist in the Chihuahua Attorney General's office and a professor training homicide detectives at the State Police Academy.
Okay.
Maynez had begun to use actual cases in his training of the cadets, to get them to understand the process of translating evidence in real life, right? In a real life investigation. Yeah. So while looking into the backlogs of cases in the police files, he comes across several that caught his attention. He noticed that several cases of women who were murdered had a pattern. And that's when he realized that something organized was happening in Ciudad Juarez, right?
Okay.
So many of the victims were found with identical pattern of injuries. They had all been raped, strangled, their necks had been broken, they had been stabbed, their right breast had been severed, and their left nipples had been bitten off.
Really?
Uh-huh.
Every one of them?
Every one of them.
Why?
To Maynes, this looked like a signature, right?
You think?
Right. The profile of the victims was usually, they were young, lower class women factory workers, sex workers or students.
Yeah. That is so specific and so excessive.
Yeah. They all had full lips, caramel skin, long brown hair.
So they all had similar looks.
Thin.
Yeah.
Yes. So they all had a similar look. And as he dug deeper, he uncovered more cases with the same signature. He compiled a report about a serial killer theory with the suspect's profile as being not a lone killer. Okay.
Really?
Yes. He was like, this has to be more than one person. We're thinking about a gang. It's organized.
With so much signature?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right.
Authorities paid no attention to his report.
Okay.
They denied the issue, minimized it, or blamed the victims. They blamed the victims for their own death, saying they were out too late, up to no good.
Yeah, that deserves
dressed
to be
in
murdered.
short skirts.
Shut the fuck up.
Right. So the detectives and agents that wanted to investigate, that actually wanted to do something, were discouraged from doing so by the higher ups. They were like, you're going to get yourself killed. Stop that. You're going to get yourself killed. You stop looking into it, mind your own business. It's not worth it. And for the working class families of these young daughters, the fear was fucking palpable.
Yeah.
There were mothers, and fathers, meeting their grown daughters at the bus stop.
Yeah.
To make sure that they were getting off.
Yeah,
that they
groups
didn't
of people
yes.
walking together.
Yes.
Yeah.
In July of 1995, 15-year-old Sylvia Morales goes missing after work.
Okay.
Police assure her family that their daughter had probably run off with a boyfriend. The favorite thing that mothers want to hear. Mm-hmm. Her body is found in the outskirts of the city 2 months later.
Jesus.
She had been raped and strangled. One of her breasts had been severed and the other had a missing nipple.
Jesus.
Later in August, the body of same year.
Yeah.
The body of 17-year-old Elizabeth Castro is discovered in the same location. She had been raped and strangled, but this time when she's found, her wrists were still bound with shoelaces.
Shit.
And her killer had carved a mark on her back in the shape of a triangle.
Okay. Same injuries though?
Yeah, same injuries,
okay.
But
in addition to.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the other girls were carved in. Some had initials,
What the fuck
This
is
one
going
had
on?
a shape of a triangle. So in September, the bones of Olga Alicia Carrillo Perez were found. I'm acting like I don't know how to speak Spanish. Olga Alicia Carrillo Perez were found by the side of the highway in the same location.
Yeah.
Many of the victims shared a similar look. Like I said, they had long brown hair, were thin and young. So she fit right into that.
Yeah.
By the fall of 1995, authorities had got their first break. A sex worker named Blanca went to the police and told them that she had been kidnapped and raped over several days in the home of a wealthy Juárez neighborhood.
Oh, shit.
She had managed to escape through a bathroom window after 72 hours of captivity and sexual savagery.
Really?
This was sexual torture.
Yeah.
The house was near where the body of Elizabeth Castro had been found months before. The house belonged to a man named Abdul Latif Sharif. He was a 49-year-old chemist and inventor who emigrated to the U.S. from Egypt. He had made millions from his patents and inventions for the oil companies where he worked. He had been fired by his employers after being charged with sexual assault in the U.S. In 1981, he served 45 days in a Florida jail for sexual assault. In 1983, he was sentenced to 12 years in prison for the rape and beating of a nursing student. He was paroled for good behavior, and so he settled in Texas.
Jesus fucking Christ.
He was arrested for drunk driving and again for sexual assault and facing deportation to Egypt because they were like, we're fucking done with this dude. He's been arrested 5 or 6 times.
Yeah.
His lawyers reached a deal with the prosecutors. The deal was that he would leave the country voluntarily in exchange for having the charges dropped. Mm-hmm. You know, they were like,
Just
we
get the
don't
fuck outta
fucking care
here.
that you're a criminal. Get the fuck out of the U.S., right?
Yeah.
So he leaves Texas and moves to Juarez, like just across the border, to work for his company's maquilladora. So the twin company, but on the other side of the fucking town.
Yeah, terrorize those people.
Yeah. He was well, let me tell you that the company that he worked for paid for his defense for all of those sexual assaults.
Oh, you're fucking lying.
I'm not. They paid for all that.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. So he was a regular at the city's nightclubs, you know, where he would pick up girls and stuff like that.
I hate this guy already.
You're going to have mixed feelings about this.
Okay.
All right. So he was arrested and charged with the rape of Blanca.
Okay.
Remember Blanca, the sex worker? But Blanca had claimed that the police had also raped her.
What the fuck?
Uh-huh. And she was afraid. She was fucking scared.
Yeah.
So, to save her own life, she flees the city. She just leaves. She fucking beats feet. And he was released.
Yeah, because now there's no one to testify.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So later, a stripper named Erica told police that she had introduced Sharif to some of her friends, and that she was shocked when he told her that after sleeping with the women, he had murdered them and buried their bodies in the desert. Other witnesses came forward and said they had seen him with 17-year-old Elizabeth Castro.
Okay.
The girl whose body they say they found.
Yeah,
right?
the one with the triangle on her back. Yeah.
She had been found dead in the desert near his home. Sharif was the ideal suspect because of his background.
Yeah.
And also he didn't have friends in Mexico. Like he was just like a fucking foreigner, right? And he was in the party scene.
Yeah.
So
and all the raping and such.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, 100%, right?
Yeah.
So they instantly decide he's the one. He's our guy.
Perfect.
So they charge him with the murder of Elizabeth Castro, and he becomes the number one suspect.
Yeah, go get him.
Right. So he claimed police were forcing victims to implicate him in the crimes. He was saying that, right? He was extremely intelligent. This was an extremely intelligent man. And very well-mannered and very, well-spoken and very eloquent. Juarez residents finally felt like this whole thing was over. They're like, finally, they got the fucking monster. Great, right? So the case against him seemed rock solid. Yeah. But Sharif's legal team was not sitting idly by. They had managed to get all but one of his murder indictments dropped, and there were 17 of them.
Really?
Yeah. All the bodies that they found.
Yeah.
Up to that point.
But they had no evidence that it was him.
No, but the pattern was all the same.
Right, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, sure.
It had a signature.
Yeah.
The one that was sticking was the murder of Elizabeth Castro.
Okay.
So they hired, remember the people had said that
right,
they
there
were
was
together.
witnesses that they saw them together.
So
at least there's some evidence there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they hired a forensics expert to look into things, okay? Since there had been no DNA test done on the body, they had little proof that it was actually her.
Is that the body was actually her? Mm-hmm. Oh, fuck.
Okay. For one, the skin tone was too light. And she was about 4 inches shorter. And also the facial features were different. Now, mind you, let me just tell you that the family had already buried her. Uh-huh. And they were like, this is our baby. They cried over her.
Yeah.
Okay. So this guy comes in. They exhume the body. They do the DNA testing.
No way.
Okay. So his lawyer, Irene Blanco, she was a female. And she got a lot of fucking flack for that.
Yeah.
Okay.
For defending him.
Yeah. Also claimed that the body had been way too decomposed to have been there only 4 days. That Elizabeth had been missing. So there were a lot of irregularities, right?
Okay.
And then Elizabeth Castro is found alive and well.
No.
Fucking yeah. So who's the dead woman, right?
Yeah.
It was Sylvia Rivera Salas, right?
Okay.
And authorities were like, yeah, we spelled Elizabeth Castro wrong. We actually meant Sylvia Rivera Salas. And so he was arrested for that one.
Right. But now they have no witnesses saying they saw her.
None.
Right. Yeah.
Or evidence or anything, So Sylvia had been kidnapped in March of 1995, and witnesses said that it was 2 men in a van, but he's still arrested for that.
Okay.
But while he's in jail awaiting arraignment, right, the pattern of murders continues.
Yeah.
And the pattern of murders had predated his living in Juarez.
Right.
And you could say, he was living in Texas and he was coming back
Just
and forth
right
and doing
border,
it.
yeah.
But, so that meant that he possibly could not be the guy, right?
Yeah.
But then he seemed good for it because he was a foreigner and not one of us would think of doing that, right?
Right.
And he had a record of sexual assault
Right.
and violence towards women. So let's not forget that, right?
Yeah.
He made a perfect scapegoat. So they had dubbed him the Juárez Reaper, and his arrest seemed like the breakthrough everybody was looking for.
Right.
By the end of 1995, the number of unsolved rapes and murders were well over 100.
Fuck.
So if it wasn't him, who was killing these women? In March of 1996, the police discovered the body of several women who had been dumped in the hills of Lomas de Poleo. The following month, they found several more women nearby, and the following month, more in the desert.
Jesus
So they were just
Christ.
like... The citizens of Juarez were asking themselves if Sharif was behind bars, why is this still happening,
Yeah.
right? So reporters began to think that there was some kind of cover-up happening. As the government began to build the case against Sharif, some cracks started to show.
Question.
Go ahead.
Is this a huge city?
It's pretty big.
Like-
it's 1.5 million people.
Okay. Because I'm like, how many women are going missing that, like, we're not noticing?
These are women that are coming from other towns,
Okay.
and they're staying there to work in the maquilladoras and
Okay.
like sending
So if they
money
go
back home.
missing, like,
Nobody's,
people
like,
don't really
looking for
notice
them right away.
specifically.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right. Because I'm like, that's a lot of women to
That's
just
a
be
lot
like
of women.
missing and like showing up, but like
Oh,
nobody's
people
like.
were like, what the fuck is
Right.
happening?
Okay. All right.
Yeah. First off, some of the women had been killed in that pattern before him.
Okay.
And second, the women continued to die even after he was in prison.
Right.
So, and then there were witnesses that claimed that he had killed a woman, Adriana Torres, who was later found alive at home with her family.
What the
You know what I'm
fuck?
saying? So
Yeah.
people were like, oh, he killed Adriana Torres, and she's fucking at home with her family. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So he had also been accused of killing Elizabeth Antiveros. And it wasn't until she walked in to report that she was still alive that the truth, was learned.
Yeah.
They thought that she was dead. Also, bite mark analysis that were done on the bodies because he was biting the nipples off didn't match Sharif.
Yeah.
All right. But one of his former cellmates came forward and said that he wore a dental bridge that he would take off so that the teeth wouldn't match.
Fuck.
Because he wasn't fucking dummy, right? So of
But
course
also
it
they'd
wouldn't
say
match.
bite mark analysis isn't really like
Yes,
accurate anymore.
Yes, but
this is the 90s.
This is the 90s,
Yeah.
right? So Sharif had blown through all his money and he couldn't afford a lawyer. So Irene Blanco stepped in to defend him.
For free?
I guess. I mean, I'm not
Wow.
sure. They don't talk about that, but yeah, he was like fucking destitute at this point.
Wow.
She believed there was more than one killer doing the murders.
Yeah.
All right. Sharif had 7 murders pinned on him at this point.
Right.
The first few murders were found with their hands tied with shoelaces. The bodies face down with their shoes left nearby. The bodies had also puncture wounds on their buttocks in the shape of a letter V or a triangle. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that could be misconstrued as a triangle too. You
Wonder
know.
what that was.
The rest had no identifiable signature to them.
Okay.
But when Blanco stepped in to defend him, the governor himself visited her and gave her a warning. He said, there's a powerful mafia here that no one should interfere with. And if that's not an ominous sign that there's some kind of cover-up.
Yeah.
Many of the victims' files between 1993 and 2004 were lost, along with the victims' photographs, and some of these women were left without photographs. So they were completely erased. Like, these were very poor families. They had 1 or 2 pictures of the women.
Right.
That was the only 1 or 2 pictures of the women. You know what I
Right,
mean?
yeah.
So once the files were lost, and I'm speaking to the manner of the cover up.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Once their files were lost, these women there were no way to find
Right.
them. You know what I mean?
Right. It's not like there's like internet,
No.
heavy internet yet.
Yeah, no, it's 1993. So
Right.
the early 90s. So there wasn't, there was still paperwork.
Yeah, yeah.
So in the 90s, when the murders weren't being investigated, groups would gather in the desert to look for the remains of missing women. So if you had a missing child, a missing young girl, you would gather a group of people.
Jesus
You would go to
Christ.
search for her body to try to claim
And they would
her.
find bodies and shit.
Yeah. Sometimes
Sometimes
that
it was
weren't
done
yours.
and sometimes
Yeah.
it wasn't. Wow, that's some dark shit right there.
Yep. So one of these specific groups came upon a shack, and in the shack they discovered pools of blood. There in the pools of blood, they found a collage on some wood depicting bodies all mutilated, with some with Nazi signs, some with wolf signs, yuccas, like all kinds of
Jesus Christ.
They were all naked. And along the barbed wire fencing, around this little like shack house, there were stockings, underwear, and clothes, bras, things like that, and a very large hairball.
Okay.
Yeah. 3 days later, investigators claimed that it was all pigeon blood.
Yeah, right.
And they lost the wood with the collage on it and denied that it had ever happened. And they demolished the shack.
No.
Yeah, wiped it off.
Why?
Because there's nothing to see here.
Because someone's paying them.
There's nothing to see here.
Yeah.
Keep it moving.
Yeah.
So in the mid-1990s...
I mean, like, how do you even, as an authority, like, as the authorities, be like, how do you, not even justify, like, explain that? You know what I mean? Like, don't you have to answer to people, like...
No. The answer is just no.
Okay.
They are the people that people answer to.
Oh, okay.
In the mid-1990s and early 2000s, these murders started to get the attention of U.S. media.
Oh, here we go.
This began to give Juárez a reputation of the city that kills women. Prior to that, Juárez had been a place where Americans came to party, kind of like Tijuana, right?
Yeah.
It was a great place to be anonymous, to have cheap drugs, alcohol, and cheap sex.
Right.
And underage sex.
Perfect.
You know
Love
what
that.
I mean?
Yeah.
So in April 1996, police were investigating the rape and murder of yet another young woman. One of the suspects was Hector Olivares Villalba. Okay? He admitted to the authorities that he had carried out the murders with the help of several accomplices. And this is where things get weird. With his information, police rounded up a total of 9 men believed to be part of a gang called Los Rebeldes, the Rebels.
Oh.
Police came forward and said that they had all confessed to the murders and that they had been paid by Sharif, who was behind bars. The claim was, and you know what, this scenario was seen by some people as like complete bullshit.
Uh-huh.
They claimed that Sharif met with these men, and in exchange for killing 2 women per month, he would pay them about $50 per victim. All they had to do was imitate his style of murder and show proof of like their underwear, and he would pay them $50 a head.
That doesn't seem like that much money for that kind of work.
But when you're getting paid $8 a day to work,
True.
12 hours.
Right.
Okay, so Los Rebeldes were indicted on 7 counts of murder. And this was seen as the most expensive and professional investigation in Chihuahua at the time.
Okay.
Then suddenly, the 10 men hold their own press conference saying that they had been tortured by police to make confessions.
Get the fuck out of here.
And they claimed they had nothing to do with any of the murders or Sharif. They also said that the Rebeldes was a made-up name that the police had made up.
It does sound like a fucking cop name.
The investigators had no evidence either. None. All right. Also, Sharif didn't speak Spanish well, and the men didn't speak English at all. So how are they communicating?
Yeah.
The problem was that there was an election soon to come.
Oh,
and
God.
the citizens were fed up with the governor not doing anything. So the governor thought that he would lose the election, right? So he was part of the conservatives, and they had been in office since 1992, and he wanted to remain in control. So he set off a task force to solve the murders, right? So the task force would be led by a special prosecutor, especially appointed by the governor. And at this time, the victims' parents had started to join their own investigation, and the government didn't want that. So they tried to stop it by creating a divide and conquer campaign. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like the governor was like, no, we got a task force. Like, you guys don't have to investigate this on your own. We have somebody. We want you guys to back off, right?
Yeah.
So they offered the families money or property or small homes in exchange for the case to be dropped.
Get the fuck out of here.
So some of the families were extremely poor, and so this offer was life-changing for them.
Yeah.
And so they took it, right? So the ones that didn't take it looked down on the families that did.
Yeah.
And so they turned against each other. And when reporters started asking questions about the payouts, the government was like, they're reparations. Like, these families lost people. We're just trying to help them out.
Oh,
but really what they wanted was them
God.
to go away.
Wow.
Because people were starting to become activists, you know? Like the families, the families of the victims.
Yeah.
6 months after its initial launch, the special task force had gotten no closer to solving anything.
Really?
Okay? And what's more, it wasn't doing its job of deflecting the criticism away from the government.
Yeah.
Right? So the unit had insane turnover rate with 3 different special prosecutors over 6 months.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, they were just like, yeah.
You're not doing it. You're not doing it.
We can't. This is too fucked.
Oh, they were quitting? They weren't firing them?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
They even involved famous profiler Robert Ressler. He's the one that coined the phrase serial killer.
Okay. Yeah.
But when he came from the United States to go help them out, they didn't. They were like, no, you don't need to see that. You don't need to see this. You don't need. You know what I mean?
He'd probably be able to figure it out or like get an idea.
And his idea was that he came up with like a profile, and he was like, well, this is probably a Hispanic male. He's acting alone. He's a foreigner, but he has access to the border, so he comes in, does his crimes, and leaves. And they were like, yeah, that's what it is. You know, it's not one of us. Like, don't look over here. Yeah. Don't look at us. You know. So anywho, it wasn't very helpful. Okay. But in all fairness, they weren't giving him all the information.
Yeah, right.
He was very limited. And he didn't speak any Spanish. His translator followed him everywhere. They didn't allow him to see certain things, you know?
Yeah, so he couldn't get a full read on the case. Yeah.
Also, it was just for show.
Yeah.
All right. So in 1998, there was a new governor elected. The people were sick of the old regime and its promises, and this new official said that he would end the femicides in 1 month.
Oh, well,
1 month in office.
Very stupid thing to say.
So he gets elected, and he appoints a new special prosecutor and revamps the task force. Her name was Sully Ponce. Now, she was the 4th special prosecutor to lead the task force in under a year. And she was quite the character.
I love all these women, like, cops and detectives.
Well, they put them in place for a reason.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
For sure.
Yeah.
Women
like,
are getting killed.
We respect women.
Yeah,
we respect women.
It's not us.
Yeah. So she was a 34-year-old bleach blonde chain smoker who wore high heels and brightly colored miniskirt power suits.
Mom?
Kathy? They would say that when she would go investigate the scenes, the crime scenes, her high heels would sink into the ground.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
And she couldn't she couldn't like really inspect the scene because she was wearing a fucking short ass miniskirt. Yeah. Like, it was totally
That was like literally what I thought I was going to be like when I grew up. Like, I wanted to be an architect and I like thought I would wear like
power suits,
business suits and high heels and like carry a briefcase and stuff. And then I was like,
that doesn't seem very gay.
No. Well, I would have a gay haircut, obviously.
That's funny.
And then I was like, oh yeah, you can't do math.
So the task force headquarters was completely cleaned out when the administration switched over. Like, they had literally a desk, no sign on the door.
They were like, taking this,
phone,
taking that.
Yeah,
yoink.
No phone.
Yeah.
They didn't even leave the files.
Oh, shit.
Like, they were just like, yeah, we're taking these.
They're like, good luck.
Yeah. Ponce came to realize that the crime scenes had been contaminated. The cops were coming in there with the sodas and just fucking drinking them and throwing them, smoking and throwing them. The photographers were moving the bodies to like, you know, get a better shot. Yeah, it was just like completely unprofessional. So she set you know, things in place to secure crime scenes and she changed a few things. But then after a while, it was business as usual.
Yeah, no one listened.
She soon realized that nobody really fucking cares. I'm getting paid. I'm just getting paid to be a figurehead. Yeah. Nobody is expecting me to solve anything. Yeah. So she started using the staff to like pick up her kids from daycare. No. Yeah. Like, you know, pick her up her lunch. Like, yeah. No work was getting done there. Yeah. And so the activists quickly lost respect for her. Mm-hmm. They thought she wasn't professional. And
why?
I don't know. But you know what they did? They did recruit the services of the FBI, like, to help them. And
the American FBI?
Yeah. Okay. And they concluded that the FBI came in and they were like, yeah, Sharif and Los Rebeldes did not do this.
Really?
They were like, yeah, no.
Okay.
Sorry. So anyway, they were like, wrong answer. Go back home.
Yeah.
So in March of 1999, a 13-year-old named Nancy Villalba was kidnapped on her way to work at a maquilladora. She was one of those. Work. Yeah, she was 13, man. Her bus driver took her. She was raped and strangled. And then they smashed her head with a piece of concrete to die in the desert. But she survived and walked a half mile through the desert to a nearby village. A couple days later, some kids were playing and they heard someone whisper, "Help me, mommy, help me." Like, she was like...
Oh, it was her?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yeah, she was taken to the hospital where she told police that a bus driver had taken her to the desert.
Fuck.
At this time, the bus drivers that were taking the young girls to the maquilladoras, to the factories and back, they were raping them and just like, this was like, rape was like...
A Wednesday afternoon.
Rape was just like stealing candy from the fucking corner store. Like it was, like they would like, put that back. Don't do it again. Yeah. You know what I mean? So anyway, the bus driver was Jesus Manuel Guardado, a.k.a. El Tolteca, the Toltec. You know what a Toltec is? Those Mexican large statues? Anyway.
With like the faces on them and stuff?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. So he ran a gang called the Toltecas. And apparently their hobby was kidnapping girls and killing them.
And his day job was bus driver?
Bus driver. Yes.
All right.
Mexican authorities claimed that they were somehow connected to Sharif, like the Rebeldes.
Let it go, dudes.
Yeah, like the Rebeldes gang before. So they claimed again that this group had to prove the murders with an item of clothing and a newspaper article about the murder. So that Sharif was also paying them and that they had to kill a certain amount of girls and that they had to do his signature and that, you know, he was paying them and they had to bring panties or whatever.
Well, why do they have such a hard-on for this guy? I mean, like, I get because he's an asshole and he's got, like, a criminal record, but, I never understood that. Like, why don't you just solve the case, though? Like, with the regular person, whoever it is. Like, this bus driver seems like a dick.
Maybe he was doing that.
Okay, all right.
But, okay, so it was the exact same charges they had pinned on him before, right? So they claimed that money was exchanged between Abdul Latif Sharif and the group, right? Okay. So the FBI, the American FBI, looked into secret bank accounts that the investigators claimed that he used.
Okay.
You know, because he had patents and all that stuff. So they were like, oh, he has a secret bank account, whatever. They never found evidence of such a thing. So the Toltecas took the fall for a total of 12 murders. And the new governor made the statement that the nightmare was finally over. Okay. They're like, that's it. This is really it.
Yeah.
This is it.
We did it.
We did it.
Pat yourself on the back. You did a good job.
Exactly. When Sharif went to trial, he got about 60 years.
Okay.
But he started speaking to the press about how the real killers were Alejandro and Melchor Meynez, who were relatives of a prominent and well-connected businessman in Mexico. All of a sudden, he was mysteriously transferred to another prison in Chihuahua, along with the Rebeldes and the Toltecas. So they were all now in one big happy jail.
Okay.
And they immediately put him in solitary confinement and began medicating him.
Good night.
Yes. And they didn't allow for him to meet with his lawyer, like, ever. Like, they kept making excuses. And, you know, you're not allowed to do that. You're, like...
Even in Mexico?
Yes, even in Mexico. So his defense planned on filing an injunction, but they didn't allow him to see his lawyer. Like, the whole time they had been saying, you know, he's a scapegoat, he's escapable. There's no evidence.
Yeah.
They finally got their injunction to, like, you know... to redo the trial or whatever the hell an injunction is. He called his lawyer. They allowed him to call his lawyer. And he called his lawyer and he said to Irene Blanco, he was like, I'm having problems. I'm going to have my knee operated on. And she was like, absolutely not.
Yeah, hell no.
No, do not. And she was like, you're going to get this injunction. It's going to go through. Come on, don't get this. So he gets the surgery on Monday and dies. The next day was the injunction.
Wow.
Tuesday. Yeah. Wow. So he dies. Also, like, there was, like, very little mention of it in jail. Like, you know, in the press. Like,
really?
Yeah. Oh, by the way, he died.
So what?
In other news. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and she knew that was going to happen.
Yeah.
She was like, I absolutely knew that was going to happen. They were going to kill him.
Wow.
So...
I wouldn't be getting no jailhouse surgery.
Yes.
Ain't no fucking way.
Yes. But
I wouldn't be getting my tooth filled.
I mean, you wouldn't get the jailhouse surgery if you're blaming these big name people.
Yeah, fuck that shit.
That already are like, yeah, we're going to move you to another location.
Yeah, fuck that shit.
Yeah.
Oh, you need a surgery? Yes, no problem.
Yeah, and prior to that, like, she did get to see him one time because she was like, well, you're violating his human rights because he's allowed to see his lawyer and counsel with his lawyer.
Right.
You know? So she did get to see him, and when she saw him, she said that he was covered in urine. And, like, she was like, this was a proud man. He was a very elegant man.
Yeah.
And he was covered in urine and disheveled and, like, mumbling and speaking to himself like they had broken him.
Yeah.
She contacted the press and complained about his human rights violations, and that's why he was getting an injunction because of that. All right? And she was getting death threats, and things were getting like really, really dangerous for her because one day her son borrowed her car and he was driving and someone fucking shot at her car and almost killed her son. And the shooting was never investigated.
Really?
Nothing. No investigation was ever done. Yep. Wow. In 2001, Sully Ponce told reporters that with the arrest and conviction of Sharif, the Rebeldes, and the Toltecas, the women of Juárez were now safe.
Yeah.
She claimed her office had solved 60% of the murders, and you're welcome takes a bow. People clap. Almost immediately, like as soon as she stopped talking, Lily Alejandra Garcia Andrade went missing.
Fuck.
This was on February 14th, 2001.
They were like, guess what?
Yeah. And it was a fucking pattern with that. Every time somebody would get arrested and they would claim victory, fucking 10 more bodies would show up.
Jesus
it was almost
Christ.
as if the real killer or killers were like, yeah, bitch, I got something for you.
Yeah.
All right? It was literally
like waiting
like
for them to do that. Yeah.
Yes. And it almost seemed like the bodies were being dumped at one shot. You know what I mean? Because in some parts they found bodies with freezer burn.
Really?
Yes. So let me go back to right. So Alejandra worked at a maquilladora called Bromex Plastics. She worked from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Friday, and on weekends she studied to get her high school diploma.
Imagine.
A lot of the maquilladoras and like Juárez, because there were so many young kids there, they would have school in different shifts so that they could still go to school.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. So at 17, she was already a mother of 2. She was very committed to her children, though, okay? Her daughter was 1 year and 8 months old, and her son was 5 months old when she was kidnapped and murdered. She was found a week later on February 21st. She was found less than 24 hours after she was killed. So, she was held in captivity for 6 days.
Fuck.
And fed well, like during this time. All right. So investigators were like, huh. All right, so she was, they dumped her body in a vacant lot where, like near where she would walk to take the bus. So during the seven days that her daughter was missing, her mother tried to persuade authorities to look for her with no luck. They didn't start looking until 3 days later. Okay, so there was a pattern that they were doing, right? So the highest rate of kidnapping was actually between 12 in the afternoon and 5.
Okay.
And on Thursdays. That was the highest rate because the kidnappers knew that detectives would wait 48 hours for them to start the investigation because you had to be missing for 48 hours. And then they didn't work on Saturday and Sunday. So the killers would have 4 days in which to either traffic these women or do whatever they wanted, torture them, kill them, and then dump them. Yeah. Okay. So this time goes by.
You realize that, so maybe you should work on Saturday.
Right.
Or maybe we shouldn't wait 48 hours to look for women.
Right.
Who are missing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of things wrong with this story.
Yeah, I mean, certainly that's not the most
And I haven't even gotten to the meat and potatoes of this. All right, so every time she tried to get the authorities involved, they told her she was overreacting. You know?
She was probably with her boyfriend.
Oh, that was definitely the first thing that they said. So police claimed that they didn't know what happened to her, right? They were like, dude, we have no idea. She's just disappeared, right? But soon it came out that people had been calling the police the night she was kidnapped, saying there was a girl being raped in a car in a vacant lot near the maquilladora. And the police arrived 3 hours fucking later.
Take your time.
Right? So by that time, they're fucking gone.
It's fucking tire tracks in the parking lot.
Right? After the murder, Bromex, the company that she worked for, announced a reward for tips leading to the arrest of her assailant.
That's nice.
I mean, it was starting to get to the point where the maquilladoras were just like, bro, we can't keep a fucking employee.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We can't keep our cheap employees. You keep killing them.
Yeah, what the fuck?
And it was starting to look real bad.
And it's like, they're targeting people that are, you know, working for their companies.
Yeah, exactly. So from this, the FBI got a tip that her murder had been carried out by a well-known drug dealer and several hitmen. They had gone to Sully Ponce first, you know, with the tip. Yeah. The caller.
Yeah. She was, I already solved this case.
Yeah, she was like, what are you talking about? Yeah, okay. You know what I mean? I don't want to hear it. Ponce believed it was some circus performers that were staying nearby. And the performers even claimed that Ponce tried to bribe them into implicating each other.
Get the fuck out of here.
You know, like a traveling circus kind of thing. Yeah. She dropped...
And the strong man was like, not my little man. And the bearded lady was like, not my strong man.
Yeah. She dropped the investigation after that.
What a bitch.
People were fed up with Ponce.
Yeah, we're done with her.
So she was taken out of the role as special prosecutor and was actually promoted.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So, on November 6th, 2001, a young boy playing soccer discovered the body of a young girl in an irrigation ditch in an empty field near the maquilladoras. When the police got there, they discovered another 2 more bodies.
Fuck.
Then they found another 5 in an irrigation ditch.
Jesus.
The bodies were in various stages of decomposition. So there were 8 killed over a period of roughly 8 months. Some had signs of freezer burn. And these were dubbed the cotton field murders.
Okay.
All right. The governor was fucking pissed at this point.
Yeah.
Like, what the actual fuck is happening?
What happened every 1 month after I got elected? Every time
we get somebody, more bodies come up. It's almost like a game.
This is crazy.
Right. So the governor, he fucking comes right out and he tells the investigators that heads will roll if this isn't solved by Monday. This is 4 days after they're discovered. Like, they're supposed to break this case in 4 days.
Yeah.
Or they're getting fired, right?
Okay.
So, 1 day before the deadline, they announced they had made an arrest. Mm-hmm. They said 2 bus drivers, Gustavo Gonzalez Mesa, a.k.a. La Foca, the seal, and Victor Garcia Uribe, a.k.a. El Zorrillo, the skunk, had confessed to the 8 murders. They didn't notify the families before making these fucking press conferences. Uh-huh. Okay? So they get on this press conference. They identify all 8 women by their names.
Fuck.
Didn't tell the families.
What? Why?
Why? They're just fucking... There was no respect. None. No respect for the families. A lot of times the mothers would be told of their daughter's death and the police would be like, you're such a bad mother. Why was she out? Why did you leave her out of your sight? Yes, it was disgusting. So the accused men claimed that on November 9th, the detectives wearing Halloween masks broke into their homes with guns drawn. They were tortured, threatened, and forced to confess.
Jesus.
Like, they would put electrical things on their crotch and, like, shock them.
Oh, my God.
And they even had pictures of the marks on their crotch. All right? So they showed the press that, yeah. So, just like the Rebeldes claimed years before, the Rebeldes said that they had been, tortured and stuff like that. All right. So
these cops are just, like, trying to find somebody to pin this on to just close it down.
Or if they thought that you did it, if they remotely thought that they would torture you into confessing.
Perfect.
Right. Officials claim that the 2 men were high on drugs before their killing sprees. Pot and cocaine were the drug that they said. So both men had tested negative for drugs, though.
Okay.
All right. So the prosecutor even asked for the testing site to show tests were positive. Like, they were like, hey, they were positive, right?
Fuck?
Yes. But they denied it.
Oh, of course.
But the officials the testing site was like, yeah, no, we're not going to do that.
Yeah.
So
also, so many potheads are so violent and
I mean, yeah.
so violent, such violent potheads.
Exactly.
I mean, the only thing they're probably violent towards is a bag of Cheetos. I mean,
for real.
Yeah, that's the only thing getting murdered.
You get wound up for doing a little coke, but mostly you just like talk a lot and maybe rock your jaw a bit. Yeah, that's about it.
So there was no physical evidence that these men were involved. None. And it was claimed that the men had used a van to kill the women and transport them. But when a forensics team checked the van, they found absolutely nothing. And if there was fucking 8 women killed, like, you would have found something, right?
A fucking hair.
They even did luminol and they didn't find anything. And the DNA lab said that there wasn't enough tissue on the cadavers to make an identification. But the chief forensic officer was like, I quit because I definitely sent fucking enough cadaver, you know what I mean? Enough tissue for an identification. And now you're telling me that, we lost it. We don't have it. We don't have enough to make an identification. Because remember, they gave the names of these women.
Who the fuck is doing this that everybody is protecting?
Thank you. They gave the name of these women, right? All 8 women. They had the name of them, right?
Yeah.
But then the DNA place was like, no, we didn't have enough. So then the forensics people were like, well, then how the fuck did you know who they were?
Yeah.
And they were like, well, the drivers told us who they were. First name, middle name, 2 last names. They knew all of them.
Jesus Christ.
Like, who the fuck... You know what I'm saying? Like, that's weird, right? So anyway, it was absolutely seeming like a government cover-up. The fucking forensics guy.
Who the fuck is doing this? That everybody in the government's like, no, we're covering.
He was like, I quit. This is a fucking government cover-up, right? So then Mexico got a new president. president.
Okay.
Vicente Fox.
Okay.
That was the guy that was like, yeah, you can fuck yourself to Trump.
Trump, yeah. Okay, we're up to here. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that guy. He's funny.
All right, so he offered an official investigation of the officials handling the Juarez murder.
Okay, so he's not into it.
Yeah. We gotta do an investigation into these officials that are handling these murders, right? So many folks resigned. They were like, I think I'm gonna go pursue other interests.
Yeah,
right?
I might pack sausages and learn to cut hair or something.
Yeah, Sully Ponce was one of them.
Yeah, I think that's for the best.
All right. And even though the federal commission asked for their files, like, we want all of your shit, they only handed a few over.
Oh.
But don't worry. Ponce was appointed Minister of the Interior of Chihuahua.
What the fuck?
She had a cushy job.
What is her deal?
She's protecting the big one.
Let's put a paper clip in that. So then in 2002, the FBI in El Paso, remember, we're now in Texas, they decide to throw their hat in the ring and help solve the murders. They were like, enough is enough, right?
Yeah.
This brought the attention of 2020, and the media attention was taken advantage of by the lawyers defending the two bus drivers.
Okay.
So one lawyer made the claim that he had been tortured by the state police. He was planning to file a complaint, and on the evening of February 5th, this lawyer gets gunned down and killed. The shooting had been carried out by a state police officer.
No.
Yep. The police officers claimed that it was mistaken identity, and they claimed he had shot at them first. But the bullets were on the wrong side of the vehicle.
Yeah.
Feels about right.
It was all made
why
up.
are we shooting people? Mistaken identity or not? Like,
Oh, no. They shot him, and when he pulled off to the road, they got on the car and shot him point blank for good measure.
Jesus Christ.
Yes.
I don't think they were mistaken of his identity at all.
So, the FBI of El Paso did the DNA test on the cotton field bodies.
Yeah.
Remember the ones that they didn't have enough tissue to do? All but one were wrong. Really? All those fucking names that they said.
So these poor families thought they buried their daughters.
Yeah. They cremated their bodies. Yeah. They were wrong. All but one.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. They were not the women that they had claimed to be. So one of the suspects, Mesa, was found dead in his cell. Okay. They claimed that he died of sepsis. The lawyer had seen him the day before and he looked fine. Sepsis gives you fever and it's over a while, right?
Yeah, and it's a very painful way to get sick.
He had a hernia operation or something, and they say that he died from sepsis from that. And hernia, he had to have the hernia operation because of the torture that they did to his groin.
Jesus Christ.
All right. So anyway, so he's dead. The other man was found guilty and sentenced to 50 years. So, a judge who refused to hear the case because he said the state had no evidence against him, he was fucking fired.
Really?
The judge that did take the case and sentenced him to 50 years was promoted to president of the State Court of Justices and was given a cushy retirement.
Bro, they're not even trying to hide it. They're not even trying to hide it.
Nope. Remember Fox? President Fox? Yeah. He had a Guadalupe Morfin. She was the federal investigator. She had been appointed to investigate the whole shebang. Okay. So she gets involved on the behalf of the accused, the surviving bus driver, the ones that tested, that didn't test positive for drugs, right? Okay. She claimed that he should be released because they had no evidence. Yeah. All right. And upon this, the government said that the 8 murders were unrelated. Our bad. It was some other guys that did it. Oh my God. The men were cleared. But one was dead and the other one was left completely destitute. His wife left him for another man and everything. Jesus Christ. So they set out and found 2 other men to charge.
And this doesn't really seem like the kind of place where you can be like, oh, I'm going to sue you for ruining my life.
No, well, you know what? The Alejandra's mother, the one that had the 2 babies, she did sue Mexico and she won like a settlement.
Good, that's good.
Yeah, like a lot of these families did sue the state of the country of Mexico. Yeah, and they won some money because they found in their favor saying that Mexico's government was like negligent towards made it a dangerous situation for them. Yeah, because they made it like almost
They were
like,
actively not trying to
this is a crime. This is a crime without impunity. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
With impunity, like you can do it and you're not.
No
gonna
one gives a shit. Yeah.
Yeah. So they charged these two other guys. The two winners were Edgar Ernesto Alvarez Cruz and Jose Francisco Granados de la Paz. Right. According to investigators, they confessed to the 8 cotton field murders as well as another 6 that were found in the outskirts of town in Mount Cerro Negro. All right.
They confessed, you said?
Yes.
Yeah, with like a big black eye and like a fat lip and bandages on their faces.
I don't know. These are not good people anyway.
I'm not saying that they are, they aren't, but like there's some shit happening here.
Yeah, which was Irene Blanco's whole thing. She was like, I'm not saying these are good people.
Yeah.
But
this is not how
they're
justice
not going
works.
to be the scapegoats for something that's happening, and it's still
because that's not going to
happen.
stop this from happening, and that's the problem.
Yes, exactly. So the men confessed of kidnapping and raping and mutilating for satanic rituals.
Oh, we love it.
And drug-fueled sex acts. Okay. They were cutting out hearts and savagely torturing these women, like, you know, and the investigators blamed cocaine on this. I don't know if you've ever done cocaine. I've never tried it.
No, never done it.
No, but I'm pretty sure that it doesn't make you like that.
Not in my experience.
No. Anywho.
Not in my not experience.
Right. Not in my not experience. I mean, I don't know what that's like. But anyway. So, anyway. In early 2004, oh my God, people at work hear this. I've never done cocaine.
Our Jersey downloads has increased this month.
Anywho, in early 2004, people discovered 12 bodies hidden behind a house owned by a state police officer.
Oh, here we go.
Who was allegedly in the pocket of the Juárez cartel. U.S. officials believe the murders were carried out by the state police who were following this man's orders. So he was a guy. This is on the other side of the border.
Texas side.
Yeah. And they found these bodies buried behind, and he was a retired state police officer, and I think he was a chief or something, like some higher up.
Of course he was.
And 17 officers were arrested in total. 350 officers were fired and forced to resign in connection with this, including the state's attorney general.
Good.
The police were raping women. Remember how Blanca...
I'm about to take my headphones off.
Remember how that sex worker that officially exposed Sharif?
Yeah,
she said
she was raped by the police too? Yeah. By the police?
Yeah. The police were out here raping women, sometimes in front of their husbands. Like, what are you going to do about it? Oh my. So they were paid, a lot of the police officers were paid by the cartels to provide security, like to be their armed forces and provide security. And so they were just like out here living their best lives.
Oh my God.
So anyway.
I'm going home.
Yeah. So.
This is my house. You go home.
So in March of 2005, Sully Ponce was indicted for negligence in connection with 47 of the femicide cases.
Fuck.
She was found guilty, but before she served a day, she was released on appeal.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, also, eventually, all the other officers that were named in the whole thing were cleared of charges.
Really?
You can go home now. Sorry about this inconvenience.
Get the fuck
Shortly
out of here.
after this, the commission to investigate femicide in Juarez was dissolved.
Why?
Bye-bye. You've played enough. You've played enough.
I don't understand.
In 2005, Mexican Congress passed a special law regarding violence against women and girls, and in 2007, femicide was officially criminalized under federal law.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
That feels like it's going to be effective.
I mean, so for all the women murdered...
They're like, wait, I don't think we should be killing women.
Yeah.
That's bad.
Yeah. And we're going to special punish it.
Okay.
So anywho.
But at first, we're going to let every one of you go.
Yes. My bad. Don't do it again, guys.
No nice.
All right. So for all the women found murdered in Juarez, because I covered the murdered women, right? There were many more that have never been located.
Yeah.
So it doesn't mean that they're dead, but it also doesn't mean that they're alive.
Right.
Right? It is assumed that many were sold into sex slavery by the many organized crime groups of Mexico, right? So one of the men who pioneered sex trafficking in Mexico was Amado Carrillo Fuentes. He was the leader of the Juarez cartel since 1993. And in 1997, he died in Mexico City. I told you this in the beginning, during a plastic surgery operation.
Right.
He was a very successful drug lord because he facilitated the drug traffic from Colombia to Mexico to the U.S. through the airways, right? So by using planes, he facilitated that. Before that, I don't know, it was boats or donkeys or something. I don't know. So when he began kidnapping and sex trafficking, the other cartels followed because they realized there was a lot of money to be made in the sale of bodies. Yeah. So this was a huge contribution to the murders and the disappearance of women, all right? So in the end, Juarez citizens believe much of the blame is on the U.S. They are the customers of their drugs.
Fair.
And the women. Somebody's buying these women.
Yeah.
And most of the weapons in Mexico come from the U.S.
I believe that.
But in my humble opinion, I'm gonna get on my soapbox.
All right, let's hear it.
In my humble opinion, the real killer is machismo and the absurd idea that somehow men are more than women. And that we're just like possessions to them, right? So in Mexico, the government made it so that men could kill women with impunity, all right? Their response was often, well, what was she doing out dressed like that at this time? Why did she walk alone? Why was she flirting with him? And I could go on. I mean, you get the point, right?
Yeah, right.
The burden and punishment wasn't placed on the offenders so much as on the victim.
Yeah.
And this gave dangerous men the go-ahead.
And their families to be like, why weren't you having your daughter home at night? Or why was your daughter in the city?
There was a lot of victim
That's so
blaming.
fucked.
Yes. And I will end a quote by Margaret Atwood that resonates with me. Men are afraid that women will laugh at them. Women are afraid that men will kill them.
Ugh.
And that makes my stomach hurt.
Yeah. Oh, that's gross.
Yeah. So, Judith, I hope you're happy.
Thanks so much, Judith. God, that's so fucked up.
Yeah, this is a fucking horrible story.
So at the end of the day, no one's been charged, or no, like, I mean, are the murders still happening?
Yeah.
Fuck.
I mean, as long as there's sex trade.
Yeah, right, sure.
You know
and
what
drugs,
I mean?
right?
And drugs, and
I saw it was 350 women from up to 2005.
Fuck.
There was a lot of outcry. So, like, they have pink crosses in Juarez symbolizing the femicide and all of that, bringing attention to it. A Mexican artist actually had, like, red shoes and pink shoes from the victims that they can identify, placed in one location as, again, a art installation to bring awareness to what was going on in that area. So
remember in the beginning when I said that that somebody was killed in recent times? On October 15th, I think it was, Suli Ponce was murdered.
Shit.
Yeah.
She was the prosecuting, or
she was the special prosecutor.
Yeah, right.
Yep. She was murdered. She was gunned down. Yep.
Really?
On October 13th. Yep. In
just
Juarez.
like last week.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
She was probably going to open her mouth.
Her and a group. No, it was in like it was in connection to another thing that she was doing, but who knows if it's all related? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But she was killed, and a few other people that were in the car.
But just like such graphic, like a signature. I don't know what the words are. Like such a graphic, like murder signature.
Oh yeah.
To like have this,
it's like the to punctuation say they're all, mark.
Yeah, like they feel that's not connected. You know what I mean?
It's almost like she knew something and she had to be, shut up about it or something, because she's like the face of the violence against women kind of thing.
Oh, is she?
Not really, but she is connected to it.
Yeah,
you
right.
know what I mean? And
right.
so
even if she didn't solve the case or like go after it in a way that was helpful.
Yeah, who knows? But the fact of the matter is that reporters, this is not something new. Reporters, activists, any kind of activism that goes on in Mexico that goes against, the corruption.
Yeah.
They get killed.
Yeah.
Like you have an activist in Mexico, you will get killed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If it's, you have people that are conservationists and things like that.
Yeah, yeah.
They get killed.
Yeah, when during COVID, I was listening to a podcast, some podcast I was listening to, and they were interviewing, when all of the like protests were happening here, they were interviewing people who were protesting in Mexico and who were protesting in China because, not just because of COVID stuff or because of their governments or whatever. And many times when they were in Mexico or in China or in these areas where it's very dangerous to be an activist, they would have like change their names, and they would have like voice changers and stuff just because if somebody like recognized them.
Yeah.
And these were like young people, like 19, 20-year-old kids that were like protesting in the street, and they were like explaining like how dangerous it is. They would like, everybody wears black masks so that you can't like identify who they are, and it's fucking dangerous.
Yeah,
man.
and I want to also say that I talked about trafficking, right? But trafficking of women for sex, right?
Yeah.
But there's also trafficking of boys.
Yeah.
The boys get taken at a very young age into the cartels, and it's like kill or be killed. You know what I mean? And so they're indoctrinated into this like brainwashing thing, and they're turned into really violent criminals.
Yeah. I don't know if this is the same in Mexico, but Gage read a book in high school about like in Africa where they would like steal young boys and they would give them like
machine guns.
Well, not only that, but they would drug them. They would give them heroin. They would give them coke. They would give them heroin. They would give them coke.
Yeah.
Because they would like get them so hooked and like so like wild that they would like have to fight for them. It was like this. It's like part of the way that they train these like young boys, and they would be very small little boys.
Right. They do that with the girls too. They get them hooked on drugs so that they are dependent on drugs for, you know.
It's so dark, bro.
Oh my God. It's the most evil thing.
And obviously we're like talking straight up out of our asses. Like this is just shit we've read in articles or whatever. But like it's so fucking dark.
If you're remotely interested in this,
I'm definitely listening to that.
It is so
I'm like literally listening to that.
Good. It's done in like a serial kind of thing. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. Like it's so fucking well done. Yeah. It's so good. Like I did it no justice.
Yeah.
So good. And
it's hard
like
to put a 9 or 10 part series into an hour.
So many books have been done on this. The Killing Fields.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Is that what that's about? Oh shit.
Yeah. So there's a lot of stuff out there. You know, a lot of information. Like the links that we'll put in the show notes, there's other links, and like, you know, I put a few links in there, but like there's links within links, and like really look into it, because this is so, it's almost like a giant tree with all these roots underground, you know, roots and branches and fucking fruit, and it's just like,
and you're literally saying a thing that happened and nobody's been charged or convicted or like,
I mean, not really, you know
what I mean, like nobody's been brought to justice. That's what I should say.
None of the bigger it's like a much bigger thing than what they're looking at, so they targeted specific people,
just to like shut it up,
just to be like somebody took the fall for it, but the bigger guys,
I never understood that. It's like, but like, isn't the point to get the murders to stop? Like,
they don't really care about the murders. They care about their political...
Right, of course.
How they look politically. You know what I mean? So they don't really care that a poor girl was killed and murdered. You know what I mean? They don't really care about that. It's not their daughter.
Yeah.
And, you know, they don't really care. What they care about is how it affects them politically. Right. You know, how they're seen. Yeah. So that's it. That's my story. I'm sorry.
Oh, God, that's gross.
I'm sorry. And it went on and on and on. I hope you were able to follow.
No, it was not.
No?
Yeah.
All right. This was a very sad... Normally, we try to joke and stuff like that, but
there's not a lot to joke about. Yeah, no. There's like really...
I find nothing funny about that, and it was something that like I was aware of, like in the 90s and stuff like that. I'm like, damn, there's a lot of, you know...
Yeah. No, I didn't know, like... I mean, I know that it's like... Some cities are dangerous, and I know about, you know, the cartel and shit like that, but like... I didn't know there was like hundreds of women are killed in one city, and just their bodies are just like...
I mean, when my dad was in the hospital, right before he died, I visited him one day, and he was watching the Spanish news. Yeah. And there were a total of like 4 or 5 men hanging off a bridge by their necks.
Oh my God.
And it was on the news. Like the Hispanic news is like so violent. And I was like, why are you watching this? And it was Juárez, Mexico. It was the cartels. They had hung these men off of a bridge on an overpass. And it was all, like 5 of them. You remember this?
Mm-hmm. I remember you telling us about this.
Yeah. And I was like, why are you watching this? And I remember thinking, like, damn, Juárez is fucking no joke.
Yeah, that's scary as fuck.
And the fact of the matter is that there's decent people that live and work there. And,
of course.
And they're like, everybody sees our city as this. And it's not really the truth. You know what I mean? But it is.
Yeah, sure.
But it's so magnified. You know what I mean? Once people report on it, you're like, oh my God, all these things happen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And just to tie into the book, The Killing Fields, it's specifically the one that's called Harvest of Women, specifically talking about the Juárez women murders. Because a lot of people are going to confuse it with the one about Cambodia.
Okay, yeah, that's what I knew.
Yeah.
I was going to say I didn't realize that. I thought this was about.
Yeah, I wanted to clarify that because the Killing Fields mostly is tied to the Cambodian story, but this one is, they actually have a book called The Killing Fields Harvest of Women.
Gotcha.
Oh my God, look at Cindy.
She's like, you're not going to come to us with corrections.
Oh, shit.
I'll give y'all a little bit of fact checking in the background.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of corrections, my boyfriend comes up to me today and he's like, I guess he just listened to the Atlanta episode.
Yeah.
And he was like, who's George Burns, Nid? And I'm like, isn't he the guy that does documentaries about sports? And he's like, bro, that's Ken Burns. You dummy. And he's like, you and Dana went on and on about, she said that I said
George Burns like an idiot when I meant George Burns, but like I was thinking of the Simpsons guy.
Yeah.
Who's Montgomery J. Burns.
Yeah.
And then I immediately was wrong.
Right.
And then I couldn't say anything because everyone laughed. And then I was like, well, I guess it was still a funny joke, but then I fucked it all up. And then like an hour later, like into the story, I was like, hey, George Burns. But then like, I tried to correct myself, but I was like, yeah, you're a fucking idiot. And then I just couldn't let it go. Like, honestly, I was laying in bed a week later and being like, fucking George Burns, what an idiot.
Yeah, but then I come in and I'm like correcting you, but I'm also wrong.
Yeah, it was just very, you know.
But I just thought it was so funny that he cornered me in the office at home.
George Burns.
And he was like, who do you think George Burns is? And I'm like, real proud. I'm like, it's that documentarian.
You said that on the episode too.
Yes. And I was like, and I know I'm right. And he was like, that's Ken Burns, you dummy. Also, he showed me who George Burns is, and I was like, oh, okay, stupid.
Yeah.
Hello.
Also, immediately when Dana said George Burns, I immediately thought the Simpsons guy.
That's Montgomery J. Burns. And like, I fucked it up. Sorry.
When we're wrong, we admit we're wrong, and those are the important things.
That's
in life,
right.
Really, Yeah, that's it for us. I'm sorry. I hope I didn't send you into a deep depression.
I will unfortunately recover because the world is a scary and sad place.
And also a happy and good place.
Yeah, so happy, so joyful.
Find the good.
Yeah.
We don't want to send people into depression.
That's right.
Anyway, we'll see you next week. But in the meantime, subscribe so you don't miss out. You can buy merch. You can do Patreon. If you want to hear my story about the jury thing, subscribe to Patreon.
Okay.
You can buy us a coffee, right? I mean, you can still do that.
Please do.
All right, yeah. So you can write a review and you can share with someone. Here's an example of a very good review we just got from Fiesta Maiden. Yes! 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 Dinner and a Movie gets an upgrade from these ladies as they give dinner and a great story. If you don't already follow them on socials, do yourself a favor and do so. These meals make me so, he wrote hunger, but we know he meant hungry. Even when I've recently eaten, and this was Trevin. Thank you, Trevin. Thank you. I love how you started off with that. Yes, yes, yes.
I mean, you really own that in your own way.
I guess.
There wasn't a ton of inflection, but yeah, I get it.
Yeah. Oh, Cindy just showed us the crosses, the pink crosses for the women. Right. So anywho, write a review, share with someone.
Yeah.
Get the word out that we are fantastic.
The more horny you make it sound, the better Nydia will.
Oh shit!
Say it on the write us a horny review, and Nydia will scream into the microphone about it. She loves to do horny sounds in the microphone. It's her favorite thing.
Okay, so check you out next week, and remember, don't get taken to that second location. Be good, or be good at hiding a body.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Are you okay? Jesus Christ!
Fucking loud.
You're disgusting, and I hate you both. Oh god, I'm crying. Oh my god, and holding my pee because I almost fucking peed myself.